What up, y'all? It's your hometown hero, Scott Lane, the Black Bruce Wayne, aka the real Adam Coleman. So, you ride with True ID, coming to you live from my wife's hair salon. Anyway, just want to say thank you, to everybody that's been, riding with the show so far. Everybody that's been checking me out, hitting me up on Facebook, Twitter, email. Just, a lot of encouraging words I've been getting from people that have been blessed by the show. And so I just want to say I love you guys, and thank you for, riding with me thus far. I also definitely want to say thanks to, the guests that have been on the show. Had a lot of dope guests, man, kind of from beginning till, even now, just kind of out the gate, man. Definitely want to give a shout out to my man, Vocab Malone, who was the first guy that I recorded. And then, man, shout out to Chris Broussard as well. People were like, man, how you get Chris Broussard on the show? I'm like, I don't know. It just kind of, fell in my lap. So that was pretty cool. But definitely shout out to Chris Broussard and the whole King movement, man. And just everybody who's been on the show. I feel bad because I've got folks that I've recorded like, 4 or 5 months ago, that we haven't even, dropped yet. So, we definitely got a lot in the chamber for our listeners as we're kind of moving into 2017. With that being said, when I first started, I had pretty much maybe between 6 to 8 months of material that I was going to cover, just myself. And I figured that, I wasn't really sure how difficult or easy it was going to be to get guests. So, I wasn't anticipating on having folks, as we have so far. So I've kind of been holding out on y'all a little bit. I got a lot of material that I've prepared that I definitely want to start hitting y'all with in 2017. So you're going to start to see, a lot more info from me, a lot more video content from me, as well as the podcast. Definitely got a lot of blogs that I'm in the process of right now coming you guys' way. So 2017 is going to be fun, man. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope it'll be cool for y'all as well. One thing that I've really been thinking about, I think in terms of switching gears with the show, because the first couple of months, from August till now, it's been kind of like a feeling out period, trying to see how how the show will go and everything, and kind of just taking mental notes as we go. And there's been a lot of things that have happened, from now until from August till now when we release the show, just in society, man. I mean, a lot of things in politics, obviously a lot of things in our communities. Of course, all the Black Lives Matter and cop shooting type stuff, and originally I had just planned on, focusing, mostly on Christian apologetics, and, dealing with defenses for the faith. But as I've kind of been taking a step back and looking at things, I realized that I've got to really broaden the show a little bit. So I'm going to be, you'll see more content from me in terms of dealing with just, current events, social justice type stuff, politics, just kind of weighing in on those types of things. And actually, I'm kind of taking my cues here a little bit from, the conscious community. Anybody knows, what I'm about. I'm constantly, looking at, what are people online talking about, in terms of in the Black community. What matters to, folks who are stepping away from the church, and how can we engage them? And what I realize is, as I watch these, guys debate and stuff. Sometimes they're on the street corner debating or whatever, and about, Christianity or, Hebrew Israelites versus the Comedics or whatever. And one question that kept coming up, and I really appreciate this question, it keeps coming up in their debates against each other, is what can your ideology or belief system do for Black people? And I think that it's a bit of a limited question, and maybe I'll get into that in another video. I think the question needs to be broadened out some. But the essence of it is, what is the application of your worldview? And as I began to think about it, this kind of occurred to me around the same time that the whole Walter Scott, case, where they hit that mistrial. I think that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back for me in terms of, feeling the urgency to address these sorts of things. But, what I realized is, looking at the church in America, the Black church in America, I do think that there is this disconnect between Sunday and Monday through Saturday in a way that, it wasn't in past generations. I mean, if you look at the civil rights movement, I mean, the civil rights activists were church folks, for the most part. The church was a hub of civil rights activity. So, Sunday, was more than just kind of a feel-good thing. It also had implications for, the broader struggle and just people's life conditions at the time. But I think, what's happened is, for whatever reason, and I probably have to study it out a little bit, I'm not exactly sure why, but it seems like there's a divide now where it's harder for people to connect the dots between the Christian worldview and everyday life. There's some type of division there. And I think that that's probably one of the main reasons why, at least people my generation and younger are, shying away from the church. For whatever reason, the church has gotten away from engaging, the here and now, which is really, I think, a misapplication of Christianity. The Christianity is not just a bunch of feel-good messages, right? Christianity is a worldview that has real-world implications. Real-world implications. If you take the principles that Christianity is founded upon, it's something that ought to impact really every domain of your life. But for whatever reason, that's, doesn't seem to be the case nowadays. And so I think what we have to do, if we want Christianity to have an impact in today's world and in, just in society, we've got to help people see how the Christian worldview is, beneficial and impactful on an everyday life, type of a level, So with that said, I want to start dealing with, societal issues and, coming at it from a biblical worldview perspective so we can kind of help people connect the dots. I mean, because the thing of it is, if you're giving me information and with that information, there's no possibility for application, then that information is not valuable to me. And I think, what we have is, with some of our preaching and teaching and how we present Christianity, how we present the gospel, we're giving people information about what it is that we affirm to be true, but we're not doing it in a way that helps them to digest it and see how, this worldview can be applied in their daily lives and how it matters. Why does Christianity matter? Right? I don't want to get too far with that, but maybe I'll make a whole nother video with that. But anyway, we got to help people see why Christianity matters today. Is Christianity a relic from back in the civil rights times, or is it valid today? Is it relevant today? And I think if we can't demonstrate that, then we make our job harder in terms of, from an apologetic standpoint, helping, defending the faith and, preaching the gospel. Okay. So, anyway, so with that said, I'll be covering a lot more topics, man. And, definitely want to talk about, we got Donald Trump being inaugurated here pretty soon. So that's going to be interesting. Just a lot of things happening in society, I think that we need to tackle throughout 2017. I'm chuckling because I can already see it now. Like, as I'm talking about these things with folks on Facebook as it is, I find myself in a position where, with my conservative friends, I tend to, they feel like I'm coming off as like I'm too Malcolm X, right? And then with my my liberal, leftist, Afrocentric friends, I'm too Martin Luther King, and that's I kind of find myself in that middle ground there, and but that's cool though. It just means that I have to stay on my toes, when I say stuff. But it is what it is, man. Sometimes you got to give people, Martin Luther King. Sometimes you got to give Marcus Garvey. You got to be able to go in either bag, depending on what the situation is. So we're definitely going to be covering that. So anyway, just want to say again, give you guys an update as to where we're headed. I want to say happy holidays to everybody out there. From the whole True ID family, love you guys for following so far, and share the show. If you like what you're hearing, if you like what the information that's being brought forth on the True ID podcast, then hey, hit that share button, man. So we can kind of get the word out. And it is what it is. Love you guys, man. Peace.